Okay, we want to now talk about credit cards, and credit cards are different than loans because in a credit card, there is no fixed time period. So when you sign a loan, it's for a certain period of time, 10 years, 30 years, 5 years, whatever it happens to be, and that forces the minimum or the monthly payment. Where in a credit card, there is no fixed time period because the credit card companies want to make the most amount of money that they possibly can. The interest rate is variable. That means they can change it at any point in time within reason. And generally, when our interest rates from the federal government go up, actually the Federal Reserve go up, then typically our credit card interest rates go up. There are some mortgages that do have variable interest rates, but not as many as there used to be. And with that, there's a required minimum monthly payment. And again, it's a minimum. And so, because again, the credit card companies want to make the most amount of money that possible. So let's look at a scenario here. Whenever there's a credit card, we have to ask ourselves one of two questions to help us be debt free. So suppose we have a credit card that's we owe $2,500 at 21% interest rate. And of course, the credit card company does require a monthly payment. So we want to figure out what that monthly payment is. But we got to ask ourselves one of two questions. When do we want to be debt free? In other words, what time period do we want to pay off the credit card in? And we don't want to use it again, so we cut it up and not use it. Or we ask the question of how much can we afford each month, and that will determine how long we'll need in order to pay off the credit card. So let's start off by assuming we're going to answer the first question. We're going to be debt free in 5 years. So we need to figure out what that monthly payment is. So N is 5 years, and we're paying monthly, so 12 times 5. And the interest rate is 21%. Our present value is $2,500. Our payment, we don't know. And our future value is 0. So again, in credit cards and in loans, the future value, we're paying this off, so that's a 0. So we can also use the loan calculator from Bankrate, or we can use the TVM solver to figure out what this payment is going to be. And then we also need to figure out how much the interest is paid and what percent of the total is paid to interest. So let's figure out the payment. So let's go over to Bankrate, and let's say I'm going to hide our extra payments. So we have $2,500. We want to be paid off in 5 years at 21%, and we want to calculate what that monthly payment is. So it's $67.63. And notice the nice thing about Bankrate calculators, it tells us what that total interest paid is. So we are going to pay $67.63 per month, so that's a monthly payment. The interest paid and again, the interest paid is going to be $1,558. Okay. So now, what is the percent of total interest paid? So if we were to calculate this by hand, we would take our 67.63. We're paying it every month for 5 years, and we subtract that from the loan amount or the credit card amount from that amount, which was $2,500. This amount here is the total amount paid, and that total amount paid is $4,057.80. So actually it looks like that they may have rounded this answer because so Bankrate actually rounded this answer. It should be, and let's see, when we subtract that from $2,500, we should end up with $15,000 or $1,557.80. So just be careful with that. So just make sure maybe in my math lab that you watch that. If you're doing paper homework, you will be telling me whether you used bank rate or you'll show me the math of the hand math. So the interest paid is $1,558 or $1,557.80. So now we want to know what is the percent. So the percent paid or the percent of interest is going to be, so we have to take our amount of interest, so 1557.80, or if you're using the 1558 out of the total, and figure out what that percentage is to find out what percent was paid. So we paid 38.4% in interest. So the company made 38.4%. So now let's figure out what changes and by how much if you decide to be out of debt in 4 years, in 3 years. So in 4 years, of course, our payment's going to go up a little bit. Our interest paid is going to go down. So we can just change this to 4 years for our bank rate and recalculate this. So we end up with a payment of $77.41 per month. And knowing that they're rounding, well, maybe they didn't round this time, $1,215.88. All right, so we did pay $1,500 originally, or $1,557.80. Now we're paying $1,215.88. So we're paying less in interest. If we try and be debt-free in 3 years, again, our payment will go up, but the amount of interest paid, so the amount that the credit card company is getting is reduced, which they don't like. So anytime you can reduce your time, you're reducing the amount of interest paid, and therefore now we're down to less than $1,000 in interest paid, and our payment is $94.19. And our interest paid is $890.76. So we've cut our interest paid almost in half, and we did not have to have half the time period. Okay, so now let's suppose, so the other part of the question is, okay, well, how much can I afford each month? Well, maybe I can afford more than $67.63. Maybe I can afford $75 per month. Well, if I can afford $75 per month, I know it's going to be a little bit longer than 4 years because I needed $77, but it's going to be less than our 5 years because I only needed $67. So, and we don't know. That's what we're trying to find. Our interest rate is still 21%. We owe $2,500. Our payment is now a negative 75. Remember, it's coming out of our pocket, paid off, and we're doing this monthly. All right, so let's see how we calculate this using the TVM solver. Okay, so this was 5 years. Our payment was $67.63. This time I want to solve for N, and so I want to change my payment because now I'm going to pay $75 every month. And now I'm going to solve for N, and I end up with 50.46. So 50.46 means I need 51 payments keeping in mind that last payment will be not a full $75, but for rounding sakes, we're going to leave it like that. So 51 payments per month, or 51 total payments of $75. So how much interest was paid? Well, we're going to take our 51 payments times our $75, and we're going to subtract that from our $2,500. So the amount of interest paid is equal to $1,325. So it's a little bit more than our 1,550, or a little bit less than our 1,557. But again, if I can afford $75, maybe I can afford $2.50 more, and I can get it down another $100 by just making a few less payments than 51 payments. So how does the credit card company come up with that minimum payment? Well, so we owe $2,500 and it's at 21% interest. And this is annual interest. And so what is it per month? So we divide it by 12 to come up with what interest amount that is per month. So when we calculate this, we end up with $43.75. So the credit card company, the minimum payment is probably $50. They like to round things off. So it's $50 a month. So we want to be debt free in 5 years. So it's going to cost us $67.63. The credit card company is going to say, hey, you owe us at least $50 a month. Okay. Well, let's see how long it's going to take us to be out of debt. So if we go to our TVM solver, and they're going to tell us it's all you have to do is give us $50 a month. Okay, cool. So how long is that going to take me? That's going to take me 120 payments, which is the same thing as 10 years. So they want you to stay in debt for 10 years. You add in, let's see, $17 more, $18 more a month. You're down to 5 years. So it doesn't take twice the amount of money. I don't need $100 to get me down to 5 years. In fact, $100 will get me down to less than 3 years. So that minimum payment is trying to keep you in debt as long as possible, but for a few dollars more, not much. 67.63 is down to 5 years. $100 would get you down to under 2 years, or under 3 years, excuse me. For $75 a month, you're down to just over 4 years. So again, they want you in debt as long as possible.